So if humanity can impose rules on warfare, let's do something really ambitious. Let's try them on high school. Because our public schools are no longer safe. For the teachers. A 15-year-old in Houston this year sucker punched his teacher for confiscating his phone after screaming, "Give me my phone. I told you to give me my fucking phone." Hey, Sprint, you may have a new spokesperson. In Florida, a high school student beat a teacher's aide unconscious for taking his Nintendo Switch. Hitting the teacher? I used to get sent to the principal's office for rolling my eyes. Go online. You can see endless videos of this stuff, of kids threatening and punching teachers. What have we let our schools turn into? A third of teachers in America say they've been harassed or threatened, and 1 in 7 in this country has been physically attacked. 2023 kicked off with the story of a 6-year-old boy taking a gun to school in Newport News, Virginia, shooting his teacher and then declaring, "I shot that bitch dead."
Stopping it there, and welcome to Mika Reaction Reviews. We're reacting to things on the internet. Same day, same shirt, different video. And today we're back returning to Bill Maher, a great old, lovable, adorable uncle who still suffers, unfortunately, from Trump derangement syndrome. However, tends to be on the more commonsensical side of the arguments. And he is talking about how scary public schools have become, or just schools in general. I mean, not only we do have to worry about mass shootings, we have to worry about the students themselves killing this teachers. It has been insane. I don't know if you guys heard, it is a huge exodus of teachers these days in the West or in America, because teachers, one, don't have control of the classrooms anymore because they're not allowed to have control of the classrooms anymore. You can't tell kids no. You can't raise your voices at kids anymore. You can't discipline children anymore. I'm not the biggest fan of whipping, allowing teachers to spank and whip kids. That was kind of a thing when I was in elementary school. I think it'd be quite traumatizing, and I don't know if corporate punishment is always the way to go to teaching a child something, but teachers themselves are not allowed to have control over the classrooms anymore. I've heard teachers say it takes them half an hour to even get the kids quiet enough to even listen to the lesson of the day, and then you have to spend the next 20 minutes. Your kids have 20 minutes a day to learn in each classroom the subject they're supposed to learn so they can become, well-educated adults. That's not happening anymore. And so not only are they not allowed to do certain things like raise their voice, they're being abused. They're being verbally abused, and they're being physically abused. They're being put into fucking hospitals by these kids, by these teenagers. I mean, some of these kids are big as men. They're big as grown ass adults. I don't really know what the solution is. I would be interested to see the stats and the statistics and studies on these kids' backgrounds, if they have stable home lives, if they have fathers in the homes, because a lot of times a healthy male presence in the home sort of curve that aggressive behavior from male adolescents. I would like to know if most of the teachers who are being attacked are female. It kind of looked like that in the video, because that might send a message that we need to have more male teachers in these schools. We know education system is a occupation that is heavily occupied by females, so maybe we need to do a thing by like drawing more males into the schools as teachers. You know how like they do for like science and medicine, like they go out and they sort of cater and pander to women to get more women in the workplace. Maybe we need to do the same thing when it comes to education. Anyway, let's continue.
But a 6-year-old, the librarian at the school added some context to the story, saying, "Every day in every one of our schools, teachers, students, and other staff members are being hurt. Every day. They're hit, they're bitten, they're beaten." No wonder 50% of teachers express a desire to quit or transfer to something less dangerous, like walking Joe Biden's dog. No wonder 86% of public schools have a teacher shortage, because 20 years ago, if you said American high school, people pictured this. Now they picture this.
I mean, stopping it there, that's kind of true. First, I thought it was like a cute little funny analogy, and I think it is. But like, if you think about it, like even the way the kids dress these days, either they dress like they just rolled out of bed, or they dress like they're streetwalkers, like in school. Like, it's absolutely insane. And he's right. A mass majority of people are quitting their jobs right now. And to talk about that 6-year-old who brought a gun to the school and said, "I shot that be dead," like, again, I would love to see a study of these kids' home lives, because he obviously learned that from what he saw, because he's 6 years old. And how the hell did he get access to a gun? Not only do I hope that kid gets help, I hope those parents are held accountable, or parent. Anyway, let's continue.
Only 8% of schools say it's easy to even find bus drivers. A few weeks ago, some Oklahoma middle schoolers were acting up on the bus, so the driver pulled over and said he wasn't going to go anywhere until they quieted down. So the kids immediately obeyed because he was the adult. I'm joking, of course. They went even more batshit.
Sit down. No. Sit down.
And when school officials reviewed video of the incident, all those kids were punished. I'm joking again. Of course, the kids were given counseling, and the driver was fired, arrested, and charged with child abuse. And that is the root of our problem.
That's what I was just saying. These teachers or bus drivers in this case aren't even giving the authority to take control of the kids. So it's like, no, just let them run wild, and then they have a lack of education. They're not learning anything. It's like prison. You know, you throw somebody in prison and they come out worse because they've learned all these aggressive behaviors from being in prison and learning how to survive. These students are going to come out worse than they did before they started going to the school, because they're learning more aggressive behavior from the environment around them. And the kids who do want to learn unfortunately is not getting the education that they seek out. I think this also would be solved if we allowed the parents to be able to pick the schools that their kids went to, instead of forcing kids to go to the school from the district they're attached to, like they do in European countries and other countries abroad, instead of how we do it in the United States. Unfortunately, a lot of the teachers unions fight against that. Teacher unions are heavily backed by Democrats, and now they're trying to say school choice is racist because black kids for some reason are all poor, and their parents won't be able to afford to take them to a school outside of their districts, or afford to give their kids bus fare so they can go to a school outside their district. Yeah, but anyway, let's continue.
Is the root of our problem. Moms and dads used to have the backs of teachers and authority figures, but now their precious progeny can never do anything wrong, so it's made education impossible. And I know you're saying, Bill, what do you know about it? You never had kids. I know, jealous? But I know this. A teacher today looks out every morning and sees 25 phones distracting 25 kids, undeterred by any authority to pay attention or even be civil. And each kid represented by the high-powered legal defense team of mom and dad. No, I'm sure there are parents seeing this and saying, that's not us and this isn't our experience. True, not all schools are violent and scary, but they are all diploma mills that allow students to graduate without demanding the kids know basic shit.
This is very true. I barely learned anything in school, not because I was a rowdy kid, because I came from a very abusive, very, very abusive home life. Therefore, the last thing I cared about was my education, when I was wondering if I had a broken rib or not. And they still passed me. And despite my horrible mothering that I got from my parents, she actually suggested that the school held me back a year because my grades were dismal, and they just pushed me right on through, and that is what they're doing now. Nowadays, even if you try to hold a kid back, especially if they're a kid of color, or if they're female, or if they're queer, or if they're trans, they're going to accuse you of just being racist, sexist, or transphobic for now allowing the kid to pass. They'll say that the education itself, the itinerary, the things you're teaching, the test, or whatever, is all racist and is all really bent and skewed to keep this kid behind and down and all those things, right? And so you must pass them if you want to be on the right side of history. So they're passing kids who are not learning anything, and also are extremely entitled and think the world owes them something simply because they exist. Anywho, let's continue.
33% of U.S. children can read at a level of proficiency. If you're attending an American high school now, that's about 1/3. So I'm not surprised that homeschooling is America's fastest growing form of education, and not just with weirdo Christian families who make their daughters wear a bonnet. To millions of parents, Anything is better now than public education, and that includes Catholic school. You know, in 1970, only 2.7% of the kids who went to Catholic school were not Catholic. Now it's 22%. Yeah, Catholic school 8th graders are 2 full grade levels above public school kids because their school isn't a safe space for fucking off. They're told, no, you can't be on your phone here, and your pronouns are shut up and sit down. Well, now I'm thinking of doing it and opening Bill Maher's Catholic school. Like traditional Catholic school, just without the religion and the molesting. At Bill Maher's Catholic school, we do school old school. With a curriculum called School Classic. Rule 1, no phones. All day, no exceptions. Not just so the kids aren't distracted when they're trying to learn, but also because it forces hovering parents to leave them the fuck alone for 8 hours. You're the parent, not their probation officer. Other rules include no making up a disorder that allows your kid to get more time on the test. We call that by its original name, cheating. No participation ribbons, no turning in anything late, no vaping, no emotional support animals, and of course, if a student doesn't maintain a C average or higher, absolutely no sex with the teacher.
All right, guys, that was Bill Maher. I don't know if I would send my kids to Bill Maher's school, but I liked his rules. I want to put something else on this table when he brought up sort of the Catholic school. Another conversation that's been around is whether we should sort of divide the sexes when it comes to education, if we should put boys with boys and girls with girls. And a lot of people will say that's barbaric, that's backwards, that's outdated, that just leads to sexism and all those things. And I agree to a certain extent, but I also do think that there is some merit in separating the genders when it comes to school or education, especially maybe at a certain age. Maybe you can have a system where in the classroom the gender is separated, but during recreational time or lunch you put the genders together, because I've traveled to countries where the genders are quite separate. Boys do not have female friends and girls do not have male friends. It's the way to keep sort of people sleeping around and sex before marriage and stuff like that. But I also seen that sort of the downfall of that, where boys grow up very awkward with women because they never had any practice of having female friends, and they've never had any practice of talking to a girl. They might lack the idea of what consent is and what is appropriate with women because they've just never been around females, right? So I've seen the downfall of that. So I don't necessarily think boys and girls should just completely be separated, but I do think boys and girls learn differently. I think boys are punished because they don't learn the way girls learn, because they're rowdy, they have more energy, they're more they're less agreeable, they bounce off the walls, they don't sit down still, then they're drugged up and put on Adderall and all these medications simply for being punished for being a boy. And I think girls are more agreeable, especially young girls. I think they want to learn, they want to be the teacher's pet, they want to, you know, all those things. The way the teachers teach classes is more appropriate and panders to girls than it does boys, and I don't think that's okay for boys. I think they should have their different classrooms and have being taught to boys that is more appropriate for them, to help them learn instead of punishing them for being rambunctious young men. I think boys and girls tend to distract each other in classrooms. I think it hinders their ability to learn and get an education. So I do think there's something to be said about all girls school or all boys schools. However, I also think there needs to be some nuance in that, and it shouldn't be that black and white or super extreme where the boys never have any sort of interactions with girls and girls never have an interaction with boys, because again, I've seen the downfall of that. So some sort of school where maybe the classrooms are separated, but recreational time or lunchtime or maybe other arts sort of classrooms are more mixed gendered, but other classrooms are separated. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of that idea. I think that should be a conversation that is merited and kind of brought back to the forefront, because I think that, again, boys and girls learn differently, and they're just less distracted. Sometimes kids act up in classroom because they're trying to impress the opposite gender or the opposite sex or the same sex. I don't know. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, and what Bill Maher said, what I said in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please donate. It really does help this channel, especially if YouTube decides to yeet my monetization off me again or off my channel again. But yeah, you guys have a good day.